based on the report from Statistics alone, we have reduced inflation from 54.5 in October 2024. We also want to commend them and narrowing down the trade deficit, because the trade deficit is just like calculating how much you are importing as against how much you are exporting. So we see the difference have narrowed down, which is good, which means we are now also exporting more and reducing some amount of import. We also saw to some extent where they have stabilized the trade. So we want to commend government for some of this slide. But however, as a network, we do have some concerns in a number of areas. As a network, we are deeply concerned that our foreign reserve is declining over the past 3 years. And from government-owned data, we saw that the foreign reserve declined from 2.6 months of import cover from December to 2 months import cover, December last year to now June this year. Our resources put somewhere. In the case of any shock, we will be able to import basic commodities for the people of Sierra Leone. And there is an ECOWAS convergence criteria that says at least a country should have minimum, at least, those of us that say statistics, at least from the reference man above, at least 3 months gone down beyond the 3 months. And the foreign reserve plays a critical role in stabilizing local currency, in also even stabilizing the foreign exchange markets. And of course, all of you might know that most of the people that import things outside the country, they use forex. So if we have problems on our visa, it will affect our exchange rate. It will definitely make import of each basic items more expensive. And when we have a weak currency, it makes import more expensive, especially for countries like Sierra Leone that rely more on imported goods. Almost most of the things we use in our country we import. So if we have a foreign reserve that is going down and affecting our currency, it means people have to spend more to buy dollar to import goods. So we urge the government to adopt innovative programs and policies to boost our foreign reserve. And we also provide some suggestions here. One, we said this will include to introduce diaspora bond to leverage remittance flow in the country so that those forex coming in the country can have a central way to go to our central bank so that we have enough dollar to mitigate this problem. But we also say, and one of the reasons when our foreign reserve is going down, as stated, 8% increase. So we are concerned about the widening deficit of the budget. And when it continues, it speaks to the fact that, as I said earlier, government is proposing to spend more than its domestic revenue, more than its grants. So which means government has to borrow a lot. And when we have that situation, it means government is going to rely on heavy borrowing to finance that gap. And from the budget speech, they are going to rely on domestic borrowing from the domestic market, the Treasury bond, which is now close to 40%. And when they rely on that, it means the following year they will have more money to spend in paying the debt service, in paying the principal amount of resources. So it's like a vicious circle, where they say dig hole, cover hole. And already the interest we are paying on domestic borrowing is 40%, 38% of domestic revenue. So that domestic borrowing interest is 48% of the projected revenue to be collected. So which means, as long as we continue to widen deficits, domestic borrowing will continue to increase, and debt payment will continue to increase, interest will continue to increase, the overall effect is there will be limited resources to provide for social services. Now here we also give some scenarios. If the overseas traveling income in 2023 If we just reduce that one by half, that money, when we reduce by half, can take care of the entire budget for the free healthcare drugs for 2025, can take care of the entire budget for ambulance services for 2025, can take care of the entire recurring budget for social welfare, the entire recurring budget for youth affairs. Now we call on government to phase out, in the budget speech, government proposed to employ a lot of workers in various sectors. Whilst we say that is good, but at this particular point in time, when you have a deficit huge as that, we are saying, let government phase out that recruitment over 3 to 4 or 5 years, except for the essential services like health and education. Because our teacher-patient ratio is very high, nurse-patient ratio is very high. Of course, talk less of doctor-patient ratio is very high. So we welcome the idea of providing, recruiting more teachers and health workers. But for the other sectors, we say let government phase that out. When government phase that one out, what will happen? It will help to reduce the deficit, the gap between revenue and expenditure. Increase and deepen the budget deficit and escalate national debt. Because when there is a deficit in the budget, government will go to us for fill that deficit. So it creates the need for vicious cycle. Increase deficit, you go to us the following year, pay more money. So it's a whole vicious cycle thing. But one of the most interesting things here is, in the 2025 budget, the wage bill alone takes 40% of the budget, of the domestic revenue. Wage bill alone takes 40% of the domestic revenue. Debt servicing takes 59% of the domestic revenue. 40 plus 59, we don't have a total of 99. So it means from government-owned domestic revenue, it only has a fiscal space of 1% to finance other development programs. So from its own domestic revenue, it's more or less paying debt, paying salaries, and then just 1%. So it's a concern for us. We are saying, what I said earlier, that the proposed recruitment in 2025, apart from the health and education, should be phased out. I mean, let them reduce the number so that that will help to reduce deficit around that. So when that happens, it will provide more fiscal space for government to spend on social services. Already from the government, from the domestic revenue, it's only 1% fiscal space we have after paying debt and after paying people's salaries. So if they phase out the other sector work apart from health and education, it means government will have the space to get some money to finance social services. Government has proposed 9%, but we are concerned around this particular one. Next, if you look at the Auditor General's report, 2020, 2021, 2022, you find a lot of major issues around hospitals and health centers. Lack of equipment, lack of reagents, lack of drugs, lack of basic things. I can recall one hospital, I think Kaila or Kenema, they didn't have anesthetics at the time when the auditor went here, which means at that time there's an emergency that required a lot of operations. People just have to suffer. So with all of these issues that were highlighted in the Auditor General report, it means that more investment needs to be done in the health sector to address these things. Mind you, the people that benefit more from our social sector are the poor and the vulnerable. The rich, if they are still looking for it expensive. Or when it comes, they'll go overseas to get medical treatment. But the poor and the vulnerable, the ordinary citizens, when they get sick, where do they go? Public hospitals. When they want to get educated, where do they go? The public schools. So that's why investment in critical issues like this. And mind you, health is critical. If someone gets sick, they will not postpone that sickness. You need to be attended to immediately to save your life. So that's why we are saying government needs to have a progressive plan on how they can achieve this 50% to finance the health sector. And of course, we are also saying that we are urging government to invest in a transparent procurement and maintenance of essential medical equipment and supplies. Said the proceeds of these taxes were proposed to be ring-fenced to actually go to finance agricultural development fund to support the feed salary initiative and also infrastructure development. But we are now almost 10 months, 11 months down the line. The government has yet to report to the people of Sierra Leone on how much have been generated and where they intend to use the ring-fenced resources. That was the plan. Said, of course, for us as an institution, we do condemn the reintroduction, especially the one on rice, because rice is a staple food, and we keep on saying food inflation is going up. So we condemn that action. Government went ahead. They said they need to save some resources to actually support agricultural development program. And as you recall, some of the commitment they made was they're going to make that information public. But 10 months now down the line, the government is yet to report on that particular one. Yes, as I stated earlier, some of these taxes, especially the one on rice, cause more burden. We saw when this tax went into this, the price of rice gone up. Though the import duty might not be one of the major factors, but we know the country we are living, how business are also taking advantage of some of these taxes. And when that happened, we saw increase in poverty, social inequalities, and we also see the recent WFP Food Security Monitoring Report indicate that 82% of Sierra Leoneans are food insecure. 82%, which means 8 out of every 10 Sierra Leoneans, 8 out of every 10 Sierra Leoneans are food insecure. The same report revealed that 68% are spending 75% of their total income on food. Why could you condemn the increase in that the restoration of that tax? Because as of now, the Ministry of Government has not yet been able to produce enough food. One of our arguments was that let government wait on this tax and see what the Ministry of Agriculture can do in terms of providing rice production, increased rice production, not only increasing it, making it affordable and accessible before they move to the aspect of imposing tax. Of course, if our domestic production is increasing, we will support that right fully so that our domestic market will also flourish. So of course, that 75% is on food. Of course, this can, one of the main factors is the price of rice, which is the main staple food. And up till now, the government has not yet reported to the public on progress in terms of what has been collected and what education program specifically it intends to finance. So we are saying now, we urge the government to report to the public on a quarterly basis. How much has been generated from these taxes and where they intend to invest those resources. That is very important because transparency and accountability of this tax will build trust between the people and the government and the taxpayer. Because sincerely, if I'm paying and I'm seeing how government utilizes that resources, it will provide more confidence on me that this school is built from that 1% tax. We have this big agricultural product from the import duties we are collecting. We have this infrastructure development or this road or this bridge, which is from the resources, from the import duties for import of iron ore and all. So we are saying, apart from when they publish that, it will help to build the aspect of trust between the government, taxpayer, and overall the citizens of Sierra Leone. Because of the year, there's a huge deviation. It means some essential services will be deprived of resources. And for us, it's one critical issue that is affecting basic service delivery when there's a huge deviation. Not only at the macro level, but also at the departmental level. We have seen instances wherein the overall budget for the ministry, it might come close. But when you look at the departmental spending, most of the resources will be going to administrative expenses. We have example, for example, 2019, the Ministry of Health. The primary health care just received less than 10%, while the administrative wing received over 100% of what's actually budgeted for. So government should pay greater attention on how they should ensure that they work by how Parliament approves the budget. The last play is about how do we ensure that budget credibility are also reported to Parliament. Mind you, when the budget is approved by Parliament, if there's a huge deviation by 30%, they should go back to Parliament and report the resources. And we saw during the hearings, the PAC hearing of the General Report, is one of the issues the PAC picked up. That they know conditions are changing because of the year, but when those deviations are huge, they should go back and report to Parliament. That's it. So in conclusion, we are saying that while we recognize the strides made by government, which government was trying to do in terms of implementation, we also feel that this gap we have highlighted, government should take action on them. We are also encouraging stakeholders to work collaboratively for the good of Sierra Leone. And we as BAN will continue to monitor and engage the budget process to ensure that it supports the proper development and accountability.